going on, guys? Probably wondering why I'm sitting here with little old Titan completely stripped down. I just figured, you know, finally the day has come. I need to do some major maintenance that is required for a bike like this. Major like kind of upgrades, I guess. So I took the opportunity to get everything stripped down so I can get access to everything. We're going to be doing the ground fix, which is really necessary. My gas mileage is terrible, like 100 miles to a tank, and that's the biggest culprit with that. So while I'm under here too, I'm also going to be doing the DeSmog and getting rid of all of that. I'm going to show you exactly where that's at and what you have to do to block off the plates and all that. Also, while I got everything apart, I also have a little surprise at the end, so stick around to the end. But until then, we're going to be getting at this. Let's do it. If you own a VTX 1800 or the 1300, you know that the bolts for the seat to get the seat off are really tucked in there, and if you got bags, oh, it's a bee trying to get in there. So getting the rest of the stuff out of the way makes it a lot easier to get to this point. After that, seat just pops right on out of here. I really need to think about upgrading to a better seat. All right, from here, once you get everything off, you have a lot more access in here. There's a bolt right here. There's another one underneath that's going to be holding it too. So after that, this thing just pops right off of here. The thing that you have to do is though get into the other side and get your electronics to your brake light and everything unhooked. Just wanted to show you real quick in case you are doing this yourself. Right behind your right side cover here, you're going to find your relays and everything and your fuses. That's where your connections from your tail light and your signals and all that are going to be coming from. I'm not sure if you could see it right there. It comes right out of the back, right here. So they all come out into here. You're going to find something similar to this. It may be like this, it may be a little bit different depending on the model or whatever. You just want to pop out some of these and get them out of your way and slide these off. I had a tap in here for my power commander, but I was able to get that off. I think I could still reuse it, I don't know. But you just pop these out, these connections, and then slide it right out, and it comes right out. Okay, so this is for my own reference and for your reference as well. Take a look at these wires because I'm just about to yank all of these off and not think about it when I notice that some of these wires are not the same on each side. You know, we got orange and orange, and look at this. This is yeah, it has the green with the yellow stripe, blue. One green goes into two green. I don't think I can mess that up. It's the biggest clip, but look at this one up here. This has like, I don't know what that color is, but that's like a brown with a little dot on it. So just, I'm getting this for my reference too, because I'm going to come back and look at this if I get all mixed up. But yeah, this is a good idea. Make sure you take a look at what you're doing before you start unplugging everything. And show you. Take the fender off. There you go. We got the rear off now, so of course we gotta get the front one off. I'm really glad they designed it like this. It really does look like I could just take these two bolts off and lift it right out. The silver is nice, but it's not eye-catching to me, you know. It just kind of blends, and you know, these bikes are nice, you know. I love red rum, you know. And of course, you know, to go up to the 1800 and get all that extra power, man, I'm loving Titan too. But Titan needs a facelift. Titan needs to be different than what red rum was. Red rum. And look at that. Very easily. Pops right off. That was awesome. We just did the easiest part of the day. I don't know if it'll be a part of this day, but the big job is going to be the tank, because one, there's fuel still in it. I was thinking about running it out, or I could just go get my siphon bucket thing and just siphon it out, which probably is going to be the quickest and safest way, because on these tanks, once you pop that hose off, it's everywhere. So I'd like to suck it out anyways, to get, you know, all the debris and everything. It's been sitting for a long time, so it deserves it. She's looking bare. Yeah, isn't that just beautiful? Bunch of pieces laying in the ground. The whole bike just taken apart. Well, not the whole thing just yet, but It's getting there. That's a beautiful sight. I love taking stuff apart. I didn't give you the whole fight and struggle with the tank, but that tank was not easy to get off. There's a lot of fiddly things up underneath there. A little connector here, holes. Well, if you took it off the way I did, you don't have to worry about it leaking so much, but whew, what a fight. So while I got the parts all off at the tank and everything, I'm going to take the opportunity to, one, clean all of this up. It's just filthy and nasty, but also I wanted to show you guys what I was talking about as far as the ground fix. This right here, your main ground to this solenoid in here, both sides, this is painted on here, you know, the body and all that. It's painted under here. It just gets corroded too. As you can see, I got it loosened up a little bit, but you can see some of that's corroded on this. It looks like, what is it, like copper or brass fitting, but this is where it goes bad. You have to take these off regularly, scrape down everything, get a nice clean surface on both sides here. So I'm just gonna take this out completely, and I'll show you a little bit, and then just take some sandpaper. It doesn't take much. This side it took a little bit more. I took a screwdriver to this because it had this powder coat all over it. It may be like this on this side too. I'm gonna check it out. Focus. Okay. So as you can see, I scraped a little bit off of there. You can see there's like some film and grime that builds up. So I got some of it, but you can still see it's still on there. You just want to make sure you get all down to fresh. Did a little more on this side, but you want it down to that fresh metal look. You can drop this thing, you know, I took the other side here so it could drop out. I mean, you could wiggle it out of here. I'm not going to mess with it too much, but this bracket right here that this holds onto it, this solenoid is the biggest offender of them. So it's covered in this black covering, some kind of paint, or I don't know what it is, but it's got some kind of stuff on there. So that's the big culprit. Like on the backs of these, you want to sand them down real good. And you know, on the other side of here, come on, you stupid. Okay. And then you want to sand each side of this, because that's the biggest thing, both sides here. Just, you know, keep grinding away, and then you'll see what I done did here. I scraped away all of that black stuff, that powder coat or whatever it was, over top of the metal. Tried to get the other side too. Still need to work on that, but over here too, as you see, I'm getting them down to bare metal, so that everything is bare metal when it goes back in here and has a good ground going back in. Now I'm going to go back over these, make sure it's all, you know, ground down to the metal, put all of this back on, make sure this is ground in, and then the most important thing is going to be getting dielectric grease and getting that all over here and all over this stuff, even around where you scraped. It's, you know, don't worry about making a mess. This is going to protect you from rusting. So because you scraped all this protective stuff off of here, that's for rust. So this is pretty much going to be a ongoing maintenance thing if you own this vehicle. This bike, I mean, so this is pretty much going to be a regular maintenance item for this bike. So I'm also thinking about getting the quick disconnect from the hose. Now I only have a small one. I kind of figured out, I drained a lot of the tank, and I kind of figured out if I tip it all the way up, I can take it right out of the sending unit. And at that point, with such low fuel, there was nothing to spill. So literally, I think there was like 2 drops. More gas came out of this when I took this one off here than anything. I had the towel loaded, but it was just a towel. It soaked in my gloves too, though. But yeah, more came out of here when I opened this up than the main valve. So I've seen some that have a real thick line that's like right here. I don't have that. I don't know. I have the C, but I don't know why it's not right here. It's very small. Like this is the you know, one that comes here. I'm sure there's a bigger one that goes around, but other than this one here, that's all I had. A heaping helping on here, and then of course this thing, you want to really cover it, because this part, you got all the protective stuff off of it, so you want to cover all of the stuff that you scrape down, because it will rust. You get it everywhere that you scrape down the bare metal.
Now what you doing?
Now what I'm going to do is get that screw back in there yonder. Put a screw in by hand first. That way if it starts cross-threading, you can feel it and it'll stop. But if you crank it with the wrench, you won't feel it until it's too late. With a big old heaping helping of grease and just make sure I have a nice coating over everything else, and then you're good to go. All right, so just for reference, just want to show you kind of the general area. You'll be able to see a lot more once I get this piece off here. This has to be taken off. It's just 2 bolts right here, and this comes right off, and then you'll have more access to get in here. But what it is a pair valve. I don't know if you can see now, but it's underneath there. This one's a little easier to see. It's down there, kind of a slanted valve, and it comes out to these tubes. This big, huge honking tube here, and it just recirculates air and unspent fuel, whatever. There's also a solenoid right here that has to come off. This is removed, that's removed. This plug is taken out and wrapped up. It goes from each cylinder, the top of the front one and the top of the rear one, and then it kind of vents down here. Now, the disclaimer on this one is that if you still have your original air box, this is going to be slightly different because there is going to be a piece of the back of your air box that you're going to be taking off. It's like a whole section. You'll be unplugging a section of it, taking that off. In the kit that I'm going to show you in just a minute, there is a little rubber block off for the back of your air box. When you get done with that, put that in there, and then after that you have to block off a hose. That hose is right here. As you can see, I don't have the original airbox. I have the hypercharger, so they've already done that. They eliminated that because this didn't even have it anyway, so they've already blocked that piece off, so that'll be easy for me. I don't have to mess around with that. But if you do have the original airbox, you will have to remove the airbox. All right, I'm just going to start with getting this little solenoid out of my way, and it'll give me full access to get in to the actual pair valve. So the easiest way is to, pull the little tab off and pop this off here first. It's probably stuck like mine, but just give it a twist and pop this off, because then you're going to have more room to get to that back bolt that's way down in there. So now that that's out of the way, I can get my wrench in there a little bit better. It's still really tight, and I can't find my ratcheting wrench. Also, if I didn't mention it before, these are 10mm bolts, and these little ones here are 8mm bolts. All right, so I just wanted to show you real quick what I'm using for the block off plates. I went with Goheen Cycles, not sponsored by them or anything like that, but the reason why I went with them is because of all the other people that make them. They have the dimple in there, and I'll show you real quick. They come, and another thing, they come in pairs. When you order them on the site at goheen.com, if you do get these, just know that one means a pair. I bought 2 of them, but anyways, it has a dimple here, and that is going to allow coverage of a screw that's going to be stuck inside of there that otherwise you'd have to grind out, and it's kind of like a riveted in there, and it's a pain in the butt. So it was worth a couple extra dollars to get these with the dimples in them, and this was the little rubber piece that I was telling you about that you're going to be blocking off your air box if you do have the stock air box in there. All right, another thing that you're going to use for this job is some gasket maker. Get the high temp stuff, because it's going to be right on top of your engine. When you put those block off plates, as you see, it's the same design. It's going to be blocking off what you're taking off right here, and you want to make sure you got a gasket on there to make sure it's a nice tight seal. The next step here is to not get stung. Stop it! Leave me alone. So the next step here is to remove this solenoid type of thing here. It's the air recirculator, and you don't need that, obviously, especially because I have the hypercharger and it's already been unhooked. You'll see another tube down here that's just hanging there. That's not doing anything. So the best way is this whole mechanism that is connected here is held on by a little hanger here. And the best way is just to get this 10mm bolt out of here, and then this whole hanger drops off. Then you can remove this. It's got like a little bolt here, and this moves out, and that's going to give you access after you move this to your front valve that you got to remove. Also, when you're doing this, make sure you plug this hole and blow out and get as much debris out of the way as possible. You don't want to open this up with a bunch of crap around here and it falls down into your head. That'll be very bad. This is also a 8mm bolt here, which holds both of these on to a smaller bracket here. It also has a electrical clip here that you'll no longer need, so when you get that off, you can just tape that up, cover it up real good so it doesn't get wet or anything, and then attach it up here and get it nice and secure. It's a little easier if you take this bolt off first and move this out to try to get at this clip. You know, it's even moving now, like you can kind of get to it, but you know, if you like the tips of your fingernails, you know, it's easier that way. All right, so that electrical clip popped out pretty easy actually. It's just a little button you push here. It's not one of them things you got to flick up, so you just push it and pull out, no problem at all. I got the screw here from in here, and now this, you know, this whole mechanism here, just throw it. Don't need that either. This thing right here comes out, so you know what it looks like. That's tucked underneath your, I believe that's the starter solenoid that we did the ground fix on. That's tucked under here, so if it's still under there, it still has to go. So garbage. And that is giving us more and more room to get at this stuff. So as you see, there's another electrical clip that is connected to this whole mechanism here. It's just a clip right here that you just undo and just make sure you know, tape it up with electrical tape and make sure it doesn't get wet. Same thing with the one that you took off up here. Okay, so after you've reached all up under here and fiddled around with this little thing and used many, many colorful curse words, this thing is now free. And because, like I said, mine under here was already blocked off because I have the hypercharger, this should just pull right up out of shell. And just, well, I'll have to fight with that, but look at, there's water in there, really? There's a lot of powder that came out, so this thing wasn't doing anything anyways. So now we got the big honking tubage and all that out of there. What's left of these open valves here, we have to remove these. Remove this. It's kind of concerning that all that tubing had water in it, and this has a bunch of water residue, this white powder coming out. I really hope there was no vacuum line on this to where it was like sucking that water into my head. That's kind of concerning, so maybe I'll take a peek in there and make sure everything's okay. Okay, so now you got both bolts off of here. This thing just pops out of here. That is, well, it came out on there, but it is a, this is just the valve that's in there. Oh, look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, okay. Well, that was the screw that I was telling you about. That sits in there, facing forward like this, and the covers, instead of going in here and messing with this, you see it's a mess. But it covers the hole there, and you can just lay it down in, so I don't have to do anything. I can just put this back in here and put the cover back on. As you see, a little bolt sticking up there, and this has that little dimple, so you just lay it in here. You don't have to worry about that bolt. It just lays in there and blocks off that plate now. A bead around here of the gasket, make sure it's sealed. Well, that's pretty much it. Once you get your screws back in, you make sure you put a ridiculous amount of gasket sealer on there so it makes a mess. Good thing is it just wipes right off of there, especially when it's still wet. I wouldn't try it when it's dry, so wipe it up and get it cleaned up as much as possible as soon as you get done. Okay, look at all this extra room. All this extra stuff is gone. All this hanging stuff under here, all freed up room. So now I have plenty of room to, you know, check my valves on the front, back, exhaust, and all that. Not that I really want to get involved with that right about now, but the main thing was to get this thing running the best that it can. And get some things that were pretty major for this bike done while I had everything off of it. So that was it, you know, like the ground fix. That's going to fix the poor gas mileage, only 100 miles to gallon. That was crazy. Taking off the DeSmog, that's going to, you know, free up the popping on D-cell, and some popping when it's idling too, I noticed. But also I can get under here and clean and, you know, do whatever maintenance I need to do. The only other thing that I was considering while the tank was off, some people have put a quick disconnect on one of the on the fuel line to make it easier, you know, so you're not spilling a bunch of gas. But I found if you run the gas out of it or suck the gas out of it, which is the best thing anyways, you don't want to be doing anything with a bunch of gas in it anyhow. Tip it up and take it off of the actual sending unit. That way there's no gas way up there, and there's minimal gas that comes out. So so as far as the major maintenance things, we are done with this. Now we just got to get this baby back together. All right, well, that is the major maintenance that needed to be done. The ground fix, the DeSmog. Hopefully everything is you know, going to be running a little bit better and give me some more power, of course. I'm just going to cut it off here, guys. I'm going to finish cleaning up and get all this underneath all cleaned up and nice before I start putting it all back together again. Tune in for the next episode. This will be the Titan project, I guess. I'm just going to finish cleaning up and getting this all nice and tidy and clean underneath before I start putting everything back together again. We got some more things that we're going to be doing, as well as the final reveal of what we're going to be doing with the Project Titan. So tune in for the next episode. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the like button as well. I'll see you on the next one, guys.